Look, I'm gonna tell you something you already know, but that your brain refuses to fully process, because doing so will require you to lie down in a dark room for several hours. Pam Bondi, or Blondie, we could say, the person currently in charge of the entire United States Department of Justice, has spent most of 2025 proving she is either spectacularly incompetent or spectacularly competent at something other than her actual job. And either option should terrify you. Bondi's tenure as Attorney General is a slow-motion car crash where the driver keeps insisting the vehicle is operating exactly as designed while flames shoot out of the dashboard. And since she took the wheel in early 2025, the DOJ has become a place where transparency goes to die, and procedural deadlines are treated as polite suggestions. Because as of late December 2025, she has managed the impossible. She has alienated the left, the right, the survivors of heinous crimes, and even the drain the swamp crowd who thought that she was their savior. So let's walk through this catastrophe one burning piece at a time. Number 1, the Epstein files. This was a masterclass in how to disappoint everyone. Usually, if you want to be the hero in a political story, you just have to be the one who takes down the monsters. And Jeffrey Epstein was a monster. Everybody agrees on this. Your job is literally just to reveal information about the monster and his monster friends. It's a layup. It's the easiest moral victory in the history of justice. And yet, Pam Bondi managed to release documents so heavily redacted they looked like a Lululemon barcode sideways. Back in February, she boasted about having the files on her desk and teased tens of thousands of videos. By July, the DOJ basically folded the tent on new investigations, leading to accusations that she was protecting powerful names and including those with ties to the current administration. Then came December, and over 1 million more documents suddenly surfaced after she had claimed that the job was done. So Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, one Democrat, one Republican, which is the political equivalent of both heroes and villains teaming up to take down a common, bigger enemy, are now threatening her with inherent contempt. This is a congressional power that hasn't been successfully used since the vegan painter. So the bipartisan combined hatred here is genuinely remarkable. When a Kentucky Republican is teaming up with a California Democrat to say you have screwed up the Epstein files, you have achieved a rare kind of failure that, well, transcends tribalism. That is impressive. Not gonna lie. That is impressive. And then number 2, the general incompetence and the DOJ purge. If the Epstein situation was a localized fire, Bondi's management of the DOJ is a city-wide blackout. Her tenure has been described as the most convulsive transition in the 155-year history of the department. We are talking about mass purges of career staff and an open abandonment of institutional independence. Bondi's chief of staff, Chad Mizell, described the new environment by saying that the handcuffs are taking off. But the problem is that no handcuffs doesn't mean effective. On the legal front, she has been hit for spectacularly bad lawyering. She has botched cases against people like James Comey and Letitia James through procedural screw-ups and missed deadlines. In fact, on November 24, a federal judge tossed out indictments against both Comey and James because Bondi's appointed prosecutor Lindsay Halligan was deemed unlawfully appointed. It turns out that when you replace career prosecutors with personal lawyers, you sometimes forget how the law part of the job works. And despite the high-octane rhetoric about arresting enemies of the state, she has delivered exactly, by my calculations, right here, Zero high-profile indictments, while the statuses of limitations on many alleged offenses are taken away like a time bomb. Which brings us to number 3, the swamp creature paradox. Here is where things get genuinely weird for Team MAGA. A significant portion of the base has decided that Bondi is not their ally, that she's a rhino plant designed to protect the establishment. Her history as a Democrat and her past ties to Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney have made her a target for the very people who were supposed to be her biggest fans. And the result is a kind of political purgatory. Democrats see her as Trump's attack dog. MAGA purists see her as control opposition. So she has managed to position herself as simultaneously too loyal and not loyal enough. And as of December, her approval rating has cratered down from +6 net approval to somewhere around -41. That is not a gradual decline. That is falling off a cliff while the cliff is also on fire, full of lava rolling down. So 2/3 of the public now disapproves of her performance. Which brings us to number 4, election fraud in a silence that is deafening. For someone who built a reputation on the stolen election narrative, Bondi has been curiously quiet now that she actually has the keys to the evidence room. She's being accused by her own side of dropping the ball on alleged fraud in Arizona and Minnesota. To her critics on the right, this makes her look either incompetent or complicit. I mean, this is insane. She's also sitting on Representative James Comer's recent push to void President Biden's pardons over auto pen signatures, a move that some call a constitutional necessity and others call a desperate reach. By refusing to act on these hot-button issues, she has managed to make the administration look toothless to the very people who voted for accountability, because that's something that many people voted Trump for. Which brings us to number 5, the First Amendment faceplant. In September, Bondi says something that made constitutional scholars on both the left and right do a synchronized spit take. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, she announced the DOJ would absolutely target anyone who engages in hate speech. I wish I was making that up. You can imagine people's faces, and the fact is that I have a book, Body Language in 40 Days, that will help you read exactly that, any sort of crazy emotions and body language. Make sure to check the link in the description. But anyway, hate speech is not a legal category in the United States. The First Amendment protects repulsive, awful, morally repugnant speech as long as it doesn't cross into true threats or incitement. Even conservative commentator Brit Hume had to publicly remind the Attorney General that the Constitution exists. And she tried to walk it back the next day, claiming that she meant threats of violence, but the damage was done. When the top law enforcement officer in the country threatens to prosecute people for a crime that doesn't exist, it's a sign that the handcuffs might have been there for a reason. Which brings us to number 6, the Obama Treason Task Force. Now let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard. No, I mean the other Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, that one. That is a thank you. In July, the Director of National Intelligence referred a report to the DOJ alleging a treasonous conspiracy by Barack Obama and his aides. Bondi responded by forming a strike force to investigate. Fast forward 145 days to late December. Zero movement, no indictments, no updates, just a lot of Fox News segments. This has led to a rinse, lather, repeat cycle of high followed by total silence. That is the kind of blue balling that has the MAGA base screaming for her resignation. They were promised a storm, and so far, they have barely gotten a drizzle. And what does this exactly mean? It means that when it comes to Bondi's tenure, here's the through line. This is a story about what happens when you put someone in charge of an institution who either doesn't understand its purpose or actively opposes it. The DOJ exists, in theory, to be independent, to pursue justice without fear or favor. What we are watching is a real-time experiment in abandoning that principle, and the results: bipartisan contempt threats, survivors demanding accountability, and a minus 41 approval rating, suggests that even in a polarized country, there are limits to what people will accept. And the question nobody can answer yet is whether those limits will actually matter. The handcuffs are off, and the people who removed them are currently trying to figure out how to drive the car without hitting every single guardrail on the way down. We see the crash. We're analyzing the wreckage. And yet, somehow, we're still surprised that it ends with smoke and a bill that the taxpayers will be paying for decades. How is Bondi still holding on to her job? I don't know. I have no idea. But it might have to do with a video I did a while ago about her and Susie Wiles, because yes, it can get worse. Sleep well, or don't, given that the person who doesn't know what hate speech is has the power to subpoena your browser history. So a little insomnia might be the appropriate response. But let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.